Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are plunging into the latest in the retail world, but maybe not just the theory. We're looking at how technology, AI and robotics are actually showing up, moving from like pilots and labs into real stores and hotels.
Yeah, and our source for this deep dive is some really interesting info from Lenovo. It's all about their AI and robotic stuff they showed off, I think, at NRF 2025 recently. And it feels less like a what if and much more about what's working right now.
Right. So our mission today is pretty clear. We want to get exactly what these Lenovo solutions are. What problems are they actually solving for retailers, for hotels today? And crucially, what are the results? Like the real proven results they're already seeing. We've got some numbers and examples from the source material that frankly seem pretty surprising, really shows a shift happening.
Okay, let's unpack this then.
All right, so before we get into the new tech itself, the source material kind of sets the scene. It talks about the big challenges retailers and, well, similar businesses are up against. What are they?
Well, the material mentions a few key pressures. Big one is labor shortages. Just hard to keep stores staffed consistently. Then there's rising operating costs, always a factor. And retailers often have this messy mix of digital tools that don't really talk to each other. It's fragmented.
Yeah, I can see that.
And all this while customers want more, right? They expect really smooth, personalized experiences everywhere.
It's a tough spot. So Lenovo's angle, based on this source, is basically, okay, these challenges, they're actually opportunities.
Well,
Opportunities to use AI, robotics, cloud tech to tackle them directly.
exactly. And the big theme, you see it repeated, is moving past the hype. They're
Yeah.
focused on delivering, proven ROI, real results.
Practical stuff, okay.
It's all about application and impact you can actually measure.
So let's start with something that hits right at the customer experience inside the store, smart communication. The source mentions this thing called the Retail Content Management Service. What actually is that?
Think of it like a central brain for all the digital screens in a store chain. It lets the retailer manage content, schedule it, push updates, promotions, pricing, whatever, across all their stores from one spot and instantly.
Okay, so no more printing posters or sending someone around to update USB sticks in every screen. Is that the idea?
That's exactly it. And the benefits listed in the source are pretty significant. You get real central control, makes scheduling campaigns way easier, saves money on printing and the label that goes with it, and importantly, makes the messages more engaging as you can change them on the fly, keep it relevant.
Okay, and this is where the proven results bit comes in. The source actually gives an example, right? A food and beverage chain.
It does, yeah. A major chain. They rolled this system out in over 100 of their stores. And the results, well, they were pretty clear. They needed way fewer people just to manage the marketing campaign.
Just managing them, okay.
Marketing costs dropped overall. And, maybe most importantly, they saw customers responding noticeably better to the promotions on the screens.
That saving on manpower just for managing campaigns, that sounds big when you scale it to 100 stores.
Definitely.
And better customer response? Well, that hits the bottom line, potentially. It also feels like this helps close that gap, between the slick, personalized stuff you get online and the sometimes, well, static feel of a physical store.
Yeah, it makes the actual store space much more dynamic. It can react to things like inventory levels or time of day, even local stuff happening.
All right, let's shift gears from screens to things that moved, robotics. Lenovo mentions a partnership with Yunji Technology for robots in retail and hospitality, service and delivery focused. The source seems to say these aren't just basic delivery bots. What's different?
Yeah, the key word seems to be modularity, adaptability. They're not just built for one single task. They can be set up for different service roles, like the source mentions delivering food or items to hotel rooms, or helping guests in a mall, maybe guiding them or delivering packages.
And the tech, how do they, get around and deal with people safely?
So the core tech mentioned is AI for smart navigation, getting around complex places with people, and vision recognition so they can see what's going on and interact properly. But a really key point the source makes is that they collect data while they work.
Ah, data collection.
Yeah.
Always crucial for getting smarter.
Mm,
And there's a hotel example in the source that sounds pretty dramatic.
it really is. They highlight this specific 400-room hotel. And get this, these robots were handling over 90% of guest service and delivery tasks.
90%. Wow, that's almost everything routine.
Yeah, pretty much eliminating the need for people on those basic delivery runs. The results stated were, well, significant labor hours saved, obviously, but also, and this was surprising, a 20% boost in sales revenue.
Hang on, a 20% sales lift tied to robotic delivery.
That's what the source claims.
That's amazing. It's not just saving money, it's actually making more. You mentioned they collect data. How could that data collection possibly link to more revenue? I mean, beyond just convenience, maybe.
That's a great question. The source doesn't spell out the exact mechanism, but it does say the data feeds AI models. So for a hotel, maybe the robots track what items people order most often, or when they order them. That data could help optimize delivery routes, sure, but maybe also staffing, or even where they store popular items. Or maybe seeing what's popular informs digital promotions displayed elsewhere. And yeah, maybe just the ease of getting something brought by a robot encourages people to order more impulse items.
Okay, that makes sense. Using the data to optimize beyond just the robot's path, that feels key.
Hmm.
And the scale they mentioned deployed in over 30,000 hotels globally, including huge names like Hilton, Marriott, Intercontinental.
Yeah, and Jinjiang Group too.
That definitely suggests these aren't just experiments anymore, they must be pretty reliable.
It points to a certain level of maturity, yeah.
Hmm.
Proven tech that big players trust.
Okay, so we've got smart screens, adaptable robots doing real work. But the source also brings up a big challenge for businesses. How do you actually deploy AI, especially securely, cost effectively, and, actually see that ROI quickly without a massive project? What's Lenovo's answer there?
Right, that's a huge hurdle. This is where they talk about something called AI Fast Start. It's described as basically a program to speed up testing and proving out specific AI ideas
Hmm.
within the retailer's own setup, their own environment.
Fast start. Sounds like they want to cut through those long pilot phases. What does it actually give you?
So the main things highlighted are access to Lenovo's global AI experts. Help with rapidly building and prototyping AI solutions could be using Lenovo's tech or public AI models, and critically, making sure data privacy and security are baked in from the start.
So it's less, here are the tools, good luck, and more like a guided process to get quick wins.
That's the idea. The source claims it helps businesses prove the value of an AI application in weeks, not the months or years these projects can sometimes take. They mentioned uses like personalizing customer journeys, optimizing staffing based on predicted traffic, better inventory forecasting, things like that.
De-risking those first steps into AI. Makes sense.
Exactly.
Okay, but all these AI solutions, the robots, the analysis, they need serious computing power, right? Serious infrastructure. Building that out yourself is a massive cost and effort. How does the source say Lenovo helps with that foundation?
Yeah, that's the other big piece. This is where Lenovo TruScale comes in there as a service offerings. The whole point of offering infrastructure as a service is to give businesses that flexible, scalable compute power they need for AI without the giant upfront cost of buying everything themselves.
So, like, you subscribe to the computing capability instead of buying tons of servers.
Precisely. And the source breaks it down into three main types relevant here. First, there's TruScale Device as a Service DAS. This covers the actual devices you need out in the store or hotel point-of-sale systems. The players for digital signs, sensors maybe, it's a subscription, makes budgeting predictable, frees up the IT team from managing all those devices.
Okay, so that covers the endpoints, the edge stuff. What about the big number crunching, the storage, centrally or in the cloud?
Right, for that, there's TruScale Infrastructure as a Service areas. This provides the servers, storage, networking, the core infrastructure. The source says it gives you the kind of control you might want from having it on-premise, but with cloud-like flexibility and scaling. And it's optimized for that heavy lifting that AI workloads demand.
And what about the really demanding AI stuff, like training these complex models?
Ah, yes. For that, there's TruScale GPU as a service. GPU's graphics processing units are key for speeding up advanced AI work. This service gives businesses access to that powerful GPU capacity when they need it. You can allocate it dynamically, and it's pay as you go. You only pay for the AI compute you actually use.
Okay, so putting it all together, TruScale sounds like it's designed to make AI less daunting, financially and technically. You get the infrastructure as a flexible service. You can use AI Fast Start to test ideas, deploy things like the content management or the robots, and scale up if it works, all without that crippling initial investment or managing super complex hardware.
Yeah, it essentially removes a major roadblock for a lot of businesses looking at AI.
So, pulling all these threads together now, the smart signs, the robots with proven impact, the fast-track AI program, the flexible infrastructure. What's the big picture philosophy here from Lenovo, according to the source? What's driving this?
The connecting theme seems to be that technology, AI, robotics, it's all seen as a tool. A tool to make customer engagement better, to improve the whole retail or hospitality experience. Every solution seems tied back to common business goals.
Yeah.
cut costs, drive revenue, and, make customers happier.
Right, using tech to make things bigger for the business and the customer.
Exactly. And there's actually a quote included in the source from Lawrence Yu. He's the general manager of global retail solutions at Lenovo. He basically says, and this sums it up well, while there is a lot of hype around AI and other technologies, examples of deployment and practical solutions that deliver measurable business outcomes are much rarer.
That quote really hits it home, doesn't it? The focus is on what's deployed, what's measured, what's working now, not just talk.
hmm And the source kind of wraps this section up
Yeah.
by positioning these solutions as a practical way for retailers and hotels to, well, future-proof their operations, keep up with the changes.
Okay, so bringing this deep dive to a close. The big takeaway from this Lenovo material seems to be a real shift. A shift towards practical, results-focused AI and robotics in these sectors. It's not just concepts anymore.
Yeah, highlighting actual deployed solutions, like that smart digital signage, cutting costs and improving promotion response. Or those service robots, not just saving labor, but incredibly boosting revenue by 20% in that hotel example.
And maybe just as vital, providing the means to actually do it. The AI fast start to test things quickly and TruScale to provide the infrastructure without breaking the bank. The source really hammers home that these techs are already delivering real improvements.
Which leaves us with kind of a fascinating thought for you, the listener, to chew on. If intelligence AI, backed by this flexible tech, is getting embedded in seemingly every touch point, the screens you see, maybe the robots that serve you, the systems optimizing everything behind the scenes, how might the way you actually interact with a store or stay in a hotel, how might that fundamentally change very soon? What does embedding intelligence really look like? What does it feel like from your side as the customer?
Something to think about as this tech becomes more common out there. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.